start turning the yarns in tow. Through Alberta's fields where the wild winds blow. Connie threads tales with Helen spin. Kim's got the tea, let the chatter begin. The Yabby Yaks, they weave the sound of yarn and fibre all around. Knit one purl, one story's flow. Tales of stitches every...
Thank you for joining us at Yabby Yak's podcast. My name is Helen. I am, quote, Elder Yak. Guess I'm the oldest of the three of us. Anyway, tonight's subject and the one following, we will be covering the topic of mental health benefits of fiber arts. If this is a subject that you are not comfortable listening to, then please join us in 3 weeks with our new podcast. There should be nothing terrifying through our discussion tonight. We will just be having a conversation with a recreational therapist and some of the latest studies and programs that have been available that indicate and show the actual benefits, not only mentally, but physically and cognitively as well, that fiber arts brings to many, many people. So we do hope you join us in this discussion. Sorry if this is a subject that you are not comfortable with, and we do invite you back to join us next time. Thank you. So, welcome back to Yabby Yaks. We're just have a special visitor with us tonight. But first of all, we just need to get caught up on a couple of things. Miss Connie, what are you working on tonight? Or what are you finishing tonight?
So I've almost finished, for those who've been watching me make the Pippi Baby jacket, the one that was made in 5 pieces and based on the Elizabeth Zimmerman pattern. Here it is. It's not seamed yet, but it is mostly in one piece and has a number of ends to be woven in. But next time I'm ready to feature it and show what it looks like completed. And I am working a little ahead on our retreat project, the Indubitable Capelet. And here it is in gray and in my tonal for the body. What are you working on, Kim?
I am actually also working on the Retreat Knit Along Indubitable Capelet in Estelle DK in the color Peacock.
Ooh, pretty.
Yes. And I'm going to be adding some beads into the bottom lace section to help weigh it down and open the lace section up a bit.
Excellent. Helen?
Thank you, Helen.
Much more ambitious now. My capelet, which I started this week, is actually in my living room. And I did something totally different in that I'm not using the DK weight. I actually had some very soft worsted that had been gifted to me. And so, yes, I did swatch. Yes, I did make sure I had the right tension using different size needles. But it's coming out much thicker than when I see yours together. The mesh itself even is much thicker, so it'll be very soft.
Yeah, this is very stretchy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, mine's stretchy. It doesn't look quite as lacy as you have to really. I'm thinking I might have to venture into the beading as well.
For me, to get gauge, I originally had to use 7mm needles because I wasn't getting gauge with the 6.5, but I decided I wanted it a little less lacy. So in the body, I did return to the 6.5mm.
And what does the pattern call for?
It calls for 6.5mm with DK weight yarn.
Okay.
Which is what I'm using. And I did not swatch. I made the upper section, threw it over my head, and said, wow, this looks like it's going to fit just fine. So we'll find out, I guess.
Hey, Connie, how many times do we have to have this conversation?
Only when I'm making sweaters.
Oh. Dear. So, the joys of fiber, which is why we have our guest with us tonight. So this is Jeannie, and Jeannie is going to introduce herself a little and tell us what she's here for. But it's something we've talked about in every episode, and how much being a part of the fiber world and being active in doing this has really helped us mentally, emotionally. There's just lots of times where, our retreat, this is our time to relax, to retreat from the normal and spend some time sort of rejuvenating. So we're really excited because Jeannie had to share with me very quietly that she had some exciting things that she had found out she wants to share with us. So we're looking forward to this. So Jeannie, the floor is yours.
Oh, all right then. I hope I don't bore you. I'm just going to go over some points, and then I've got this really juicy stuff at the end that just blew my mind. Anyway, I'm coming from a different background here, a different point of view, because I'm a recreation therapist and expressive arts therapist. So we use fiber arts for healing, for therapy. We have done for 40 years, actually, since right after World War II, so longer than that. So anyway, so I'm sharing with you a little bit of what we do and how we do it and what we have found and why we love fiber arts so much. Okay. So I've broken it down into certain sections here. So the first one is pretty much, a lot of people know this. We use it with people of all ages and all abilities and disabilities for maintenance or improvement of fine motor skills. And the reason why that's so important is because if someone has had a stroke or they've had a brain injury or something, it will help them to with cellular memory and muscle memory. I'll get to that later. But it also, for all of us, it keeps the fingers flexible and nimble. And so it sort of wards off stiffness if you have arthritis, or I hope none of you have yet, but I do, and so anything you can do like that is going to really, really help with reduce the stiffening and the tightness in your fingers. Now this transfers to when we get older, much older, because you gals are all nice and young, but when we get much older, we're going to need help. We're going to have working fingers, so we can do buttons, we can do zippers, we can use that, that little tab on your zipper. And so as therapists, this is why we love it. So it transfers over into daily life and just basically getting dressed and more. We also we'll do hand over hand with some people. If somebody has had, and we have done it. We usually do Bargello, or we'll do Trapunta, or we'll do something else. But we have done hand over hand technique with people who have had a stroke or who have had some weakness through an injury or carpal tunnel, just recovering from that. So we'll do hand over hand to get them back into it and use the muscle memory to help come back to the leisure skill that they love so much. So by putting our hand over theirs and just helping them get back into the flow of it, then it will come back, and the strength will come back, and they can have that skill again. I just covered that. I just covered muscle memory. So then the next part, and you all know this, the calming and focus and sensory grounding. Okay. And this is what I love about it. Well, I love lots of parts of this, but this is really, really important for me as a therapist. This works so well with people in trauma, people who are just going through something that they're ruminating over or overthinking or stressing, anxiety, you name it. It can be anything from an argument you had with somebody to a major trauma in life, and everything in between. So it really does have a calming effect on people. And numerous studies have been done that prove this, that it actually does. It calms you down. Oh, wait till you get to the good stuff at the end. It's just juicy. Anyway, it actually works to focus people with ADD, attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Anybody
I see Kim giggling. Sorry to interrupt.
I'm trying to picture your oldest son with a pair of knitting needles, Connie.
I love this nodding because this is really, and it does distract us. In the olden days, way back, before we called it recreation therapy and occupational therapy, we called it diversional therapy. But basically it diverts your attention away from the unpleasantness of life, whatever that may be. And that could be 3 great big stacks of things I need to iron. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big horrible thing. It can be anything that you need distraction from.
Right.
I
It
like
does
when you
again.
have to be distracted from ironing.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I just
Is,
stopped buying that stuff. Actually, I went,
isn't
nah. If it
ironing for
needs to be ironed, I
quilting?
don't want it.
That's the only thing my iron gets used for is quilting. I have a steamer for clothes.
Oh, good idea. Excellent idea. Because you know what? I'm not one of those who hears the buzzer and takes everything out of the dryer. I don't do that.
There's a
Okay, so
buzzer
we're
on the
talking
dryer.
about again perseveration. We call it perseveration, which is basically the fancy therapist word for yin, 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 yin. I'm going around and around in my brain, and I'm not getting anywhere. I'm spinning my wheels. So it's diversional therapy as well. Okay. Another way that we use any kind of fiber arts, because it requires that focus, we use it with people with dementia, especially those who are going through experiencing sundowning anxiety. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yes,
You know about it, Connie.
I
So
do.
sundowning, for those who don't know, sundowning is usually it starts about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it can go till 7 o'clock at night, thereabouts. And it's a rehashing of something in the person's mind. A lot of times they think I have to go pick up my kids at school. It's amazing. It'll stop people from pacing and wandering and restlessness. So it's magic. It's absolutely magic because it takes focus. You can do it. You can talk, especially for you people who are so well seasoned. But for somebody who's just using it for muscle memory, it's a focus activity, and it does magic. It takes away the emotional pain or the anxiety or the restlessness or just that need to, I feel like I need to get up and go because it's sundowning.
Right.
Mindfulness. That's a big buzzword in my world. The last 5 or so years has been the big buzzword, mindfulness. But it's just sometimes self-reflection. I don't know for those of you who do it independently, but I don't know if you ever get to a point where you start to daydream. Like I would do that. I do that with any number of activities that I engage in. For me, it would be I'd be sitting there doing embroidery, and it takes me back to my granny teaching me embroidery, or just anything. And if there's music in the background, then I'll just get lost. And it's a beautiful, wonderful way of just escaping. And that's part of the beauty of fiber arts as well. It just letting yourself just drift away, whether it's with the stitches, whether it's a conversation with others, whether it's just getting in the flow of the retreat, anything you're doing that takes your mind away from the rest of the world, or just in the moment, just by yourself or with this group of people, it's all restorative. It can't be anything but, excuse me, I'm starting to get a little cold, I think. It's all restorative. So it's all going to heal you, every bit of it, no matter what. It's all healing. It's all beautiful. Now we get into the therapy start. I'm going to try not to bore you. Under mental health, happiness, self-esteem, and emotional regulation. Okay. This is again another biggie. So a study by a lady named Greta Herman. She did a small study, and she did it with a fiber arts group, and it was a community membership. So these people met regularly, whether it was online or whether in a group. I think this was in a community setting, like in a small circle of people. And so they used the subjective self-happiness scale, because we all people in psychology, we love scales. We love scales. We love anything that proves what we think we can't prove, other than if it's got numbers attached to it, right? So she used the subjective self-happiness scale, and self-esteem ratings on the Rosenberg self-esteem scale. It's awesome. It translates through all different domains. And then they did an emotional regulation scale. So what she found was that the people who were involved in a community fiber arts group, they increased, because when they came in, I got to go back to the beginning. When they came in, they were having low mood. They were not feeling well, whether it was complete depression or whether it was just not feeling themselves and not feeling as good as they wanted to feel. And they self described as having lower self-esteem. So what happened was magically when she finished the study, she found that pretty much everybody who was engaged in this community fiber arts group, they all had increased self-happiness ratings, not just some of them, all of them. And they
Interesting.
all had increased self-esteem ratings.
Hmm.
That to me, that was a real surprise for me. Like I didn't quite get the correlation, but I guess I do. If you create something and you're proud of it and you finished it, you took it from conception, pattern to completion, I guess that you do that often enough, it's going to raise your self-esteem. So anyway, she had very, very positive evidence of that. Now, that was more in terms of yarn, that was knitting, crocheting, Bargello, things like that. She also did the same type of study, but she did it with quilting and sewing groups in the community. And she found that they had much higher self ratings of improved emotional regulation. And emotional regulation being either allowing yourself to feel down or sometimes get stuck in a low mood, or also emotional regulation can be becoming irritable when you don't want to become irritable, flying off the handle, maybe letting an emotion last too long so that it's even making, it's bothering you now. It's not just bothering the other people in your life, it's bothering you. So all of these things, all of these people in the quilting and sewing groups, they all came back with, they self-rated and when they did their little scales, and they all evidenced greater emotional self-regulation. I think that's just mind-boggling. I just
That
love
it's
it.
everyone in the group. It's not like you looked for a specific type of individual. It's individuals in the fiber arts from all walks of life generally.
Any human being, if you're human and you're breathing, you're going to have some of these things in your life, because life is not just a perfect little cakewalk with rainbows and unicorns.
No, it is
Right?
not.
So we're all going to experiencing things. We're all going to experience things that are a little tougher sometimes. And I could show you study after study after study, and I will at some point. I'll provide you with a whole list of studies that prove what you're doing is not just fun. It's saving your lives. It's healing everything you could possibly need or want to heal. It's amazing stuff.
Can I use that as a reason to buy more yarn? Think my husband will accept it?
Pardon me?
Think my husband will accept that as a reason to buy more yarn?
Yep.
That's why we're allowed to claim it under mental wellness at work.
You betcha. You betcha. Because it is magic. It is magic. I mean, and so are a lot of other arts and crafts and so forth. But there have been these studies done that are actually out there, and they're being done by occupational therapists and recreation therapists and art therapists now. And they weren't prior to that. Originally, art therapists were only doing things that were artsy. Well, this is artsy. It's definitely creative, but it's also therapeutic. Now, I got to be careful with this one, because this one, I'm going to have to read it because I haven't got this memorized. This is brand new, and it just blew me out of the water, okay? So this was a study done by Collier, Wayman, and Burkett. 3 ladies who were just really, really interested in doing this because they're all therapists. Now, this is in the Art Therapy Journal. And they hypothesized that a textile art making activity, which basically is a fancy word for fiber arts, that was high in arousal, engagement, and positive mood. So high arousal just means I'm excited about this. I want to do this. I want to create this thing. Oh, won't that look lovely, on so-and-so's bed?
Engagement. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just engagement and being with like-minded people, right? So you get the chatter, and aren't we having a good time? And isn't this great? And a positive mood. So keeping it light, keeping it like this is our time, this is our escape. It's not going to be stitch and bitch. It's going to be positive. So anyway, they hypothesized that this would be excellent for mood repair. And get this. This is what I'm so excited. I couldn't wait. I blurted it out to Helen. It buffers inflammatory immune reactions. So this is like, okay, well, what? It really didn't even make sense to me. Like, how is this possible? So these 47 experienced textile handcrafters, so these were people who are very well versed in knitting and crocheting and so forth. They were asked to recall some upsetting situation. It could have been something somebody said that made you sad or made you cry, or somebody made you feel less than. And so anyway, the ladies, the therapist said, okay, think about that, and I want you to focus your attention on it. And then they gave them, they broke it up into 3 different groups, and they said, okay, you're going to do what you do, and you're going to do your fiber arts. And this middle group, excuse me, you're going to do something that is just maybe focusing, like self-reflection, and you're going to sit and focus on that, and maybe do some self-guidance to take yourself through that, try to make yourself feel better. And then the third, kind of sad, because I also do specialize in narrative therapy, but the writing, the third group was told to write about this. So of course, if they didn't have any guidance in writing, they're going to escalate. They're going to get, I'm even more upset, and then she said, and then he said, and then, so it's going to be more upsetting, right? So what we knew this was going to happen, that was going to be really, really positive in mood repair. That was a given. We knew that was going to happen because other studies have said that. What we didn't know is that this actually cuts down on cytokine storms. So this is the part that I went and I researched for another couple of hours just to find out more about this. So diabetes type 2, that's an autoimmune disorder. Lupus is an autoimmune disorder. Yeah, me too. Lupus is an autoimmune disorder. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoinflammatory disorder. And we can go on and on. There are over 100 of these
autoimmune thyroid disease
that come from cytokine storms. So this is how important this is. This is really speaking loudly. I'm going to do more research on it because I think this is absolutely mind-boggling. And I think the whole world should know that if you engage in this type of activity, you engage in fiber arts, you can actually improve and cut down. You can improve the mood, but you can cut down on the cytokine storms that are happening that actually cause inflammation, that cause your diabetes, your blood sugars to go up and down, right? It's important to me because I have diabetes. So
right.
This was the big thing that I can't believe it. This is the best news since bubblegum. That this is what you ladies are doing. And there's a whole other branch of people out there that you could engage with strictly on this basis that, hey, we've got something that will not heal you, but it's definitely going to cut back on the number of times that you go up and down, that your blood sugars are out of whack, that you may have to be hospitalized, that you're going to have less inflammatory outbreaks with rheumatoid arthritis, you're going to have less trouble with lupus. This is very big stuff. And I found this buried in Google Scholar from way back in 2016. Why hasn't the whole world been talking about this? Don't know, but you gals will, I hope. I hope
Definitely.
Take it and run with it, please, please, please. And if I get chosen to go to the thing in Lacombe, I'm going to present on this. That'll be part of my workshop if they accept me. Because I think this is very, very big stuff. This is so important. Anyway, and the rest we all know. The rest is just social engagement, sense of belonging, reduce social isolation. Like this, what you're doing right now, you could be doing this with people who can't get out.
Yeah. Yes.
They can't get out of the house. It's wintertime. They're afraid of falling. They have issues. I have mobility issues. So,
well, and that's actually one thing. Our quilting group that Connie and I belong to, during COVID, they started a twice weekly online get together to quilt, and they've continued it on even to this day.
Exactly.
Because it keeps everyone engaged.
Exactly. We started, I was with Creative Aging in Calgary, and we started during COVID, we did art kits. And that we really had to be inventive with that. Mm-hmm. But we did art kits, and there's a little canvas, there's a Van Gogh painting, there's some chalk, there's some paints, there's some brushes, and here's how you do it. And because we couldn't get people out. But it was a way of having them get together, even if it was just by this sort of thing.
Yes.
Let's paint together, and we're going to do it this way. And then everybody would create Starry, Starry Night. So, but, it forced a lot of people to think of different ways of engaging. But this is a really good way to cut down on social isolation. It may very well be if the person goes out to a fiber arts group, that may be the one thing the only thing they go out to engage in. So it's really important that they do that, and that we spread the word of how important fiber arts groups can be. Mm-hmm. Really, I'm going to beat this drum, because I just found this drum, and I don't know why it's been hidden since 2016. It just blows my mind.
Well, and
then we talked earlier. We talked about stress reduction, right?
I was
Did I
just
cut
going to
somebody
ask,
off?
have you noticed that for the online fiber arts groups, if it seems to help people that suffer from social anxiety because they're
Yes.
gathering while they're in a space that they're already comfortable with?
Yes. And I'm gonna tell you some very specific. I will not name names, of course, but there was one lady who had a colostomy. She was very, very nervous and insecure, had a lot of anxiety about being around in public, because she didn't know when something would happen, when she might, there might be an odor. She was very, very worried about that. So this was a chance for her to engage.
Yes.
And that's just one. But there are people who have agoraphobia. It is very real. It's a very real condition. My mother had it for 2 years, and then luckily she came out the other side of it. But it's a very real condition, and some people will actually they'll faint. They'll hyperventilate to the point of fainting if they have to leave. But this is safe.
Yes.
This is a very, very safe way to join and to make friends with people and to engage, where you don't have to worry about those things. Mm-hmm. So good question, Kim. Awesome question. The other, and I don't know if you ladies do this yet, but it may be something you engage in later on. It can be a little bit of a cultural exchange. If you eventually get to a point where there are people from other countries and they're sharing their fiber arts, what they do, something that they do from their country. And I found that to be really interesting and really a good learning experience for me as well, just to see what other people do. They have different ways of doing things. And they may, like, for instance, now here's just another example. Because we lump everything together. If it's a fabric or a yarn, it's fiber arts, okay? And so we did one group where we used fabric, and we braided, or we did basket weaving with little ropes of fabric. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't our idea. It came from somebody from another country. And it was somebody actually from Africa who showed us what they do. So we took that and we ran with it. And we got the nice bright colors, and we braided little braids. And then you go just the same as you go in and out. It's just like weaving, right? So you make a base, and then you just weave in and out, and still fiber arts, and you're creating something. But
they're sharing their background. They're sharing that culture with other people, and you're having an opportunity to learn about something interesting about another culture. That's that building community.
Exactly. Thank you, Connie. That's a wonderful way to put it. I love that. That's a wonderful way for you to word that. Building community. And that's what you all are doing right now. Like, I just love what you're doing. I think this is amazing. Okay, now we get to this part now. I'm going to cheat again because I don't have this all memorized, but this was another absolutely wonderful little study. And this was about cognition and neuroplasticity. Now, everybody knows what cognition is. Do we all know about neuroplasticity?
I'm fairly sure I'm familiar with the term.
I'm pretty sure you are too. There I go. Sorry, my little nose here. Okay, neuroplasticity is basically flexibility of the brain, and it's the ability to bounce back or build new neural pathways. Okay, and we've done this a lot. Years and years ago in nursing, we did it we would move somebody's leg back and forth after they'd had an accident or something. And so we would be looking at getting back the muscle memory and hopefully building new neural pathways so that they could get the message from the muscles to the brain and back to the muscles again. This is what we want to do. We want to take that step, or we want to make that flex or extension, right? So anyway, this is a husband and wife team, and they both work at the same university. So they drew on neuroscience and technology, and so basically what they found was that fiber arts stimulates brain regions associated with problem solving.
Okay.
Now, that's news to me, and I've been doing fiber arts with patients for 40 years. It was news to me. Mind you, they just did this study in 2024. So anyway, so they said that parts of the brain light up when you're doing fiber arts. And I think a lot of it is because it's the tactile sensation too, right? So you're focusing, you're using focus, but you're touching. So whatever fabric or fiber you're using, you're touching. They also talked about sensory integration. So all of these parts of the brain are lighting up like crazy in the lab when people are doing fiber arts. So, excuse me. So they have the problem solving area of the brain, and that's going ding, 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 right? They've got the sensory integration. So we're pulling things together. We're working with different senses. It's visual, it's tactile, and it's mental because you're problem solving. We're going to have challenges. We're going to either be following a pattern, or we're going to be looking at the other person, like I did with Helen in painting class. I'm cheating. I'm looking at Helen going, oh, wow, look what she's doing. So no matter what, we're going to be engaging in several senses. And then, that adds to our adaptability, and it fosters neural growth and enhances cognitive flexibility. So when we're doing all of this, when we're stepping beyond our familiar boundaries, because everything we're doing, if you pick up a new pattern next week that you've never done before, so you can't cheat. It's got to be a brand new. I just got it off the internet. I've never done it before. You're challenging your brain. You're challenging your fingers. This is all going to be new because what you're used to, and the pearls and the knits and the pearls are not going to be the same in this new pattern as they were before. So you're challenging. You're going beyond the familiar. And so those boundaries, or those challenges rather, depending on how difficult the project is, and you're probably going to, you make it a little harder each time. That's what we do to people. We're kind of mean that way. But all of that is engaging in problem solving, the learning of the new skill, or the following of a new pattern. It's all good for the brain. Oh, yeah.
Well, Jeannie, this has been absolutely fascinating, but we're up. Our time for this session is up. So you know what? We're going to end it here. We're not. Sorry. We're gonna do another session with you. So don't worry about it. This is just
okay.
It's interesting because
a brief pause till we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to leave and then come back again.
Yeah, we will. And you know what? It's so much of everything we talk about.
I get excited.
So, it's exciting though that the scientific world is finally acknowledging what we as crafters and fiber artists have known for years.
You betcha.
And it's exciting to see that. And we're not just crazy,
No. You're smarter than the average bears.
So,
thank you for having me.
So we're going to pull this session to a close. And, thank you to Jeannie again. She's volunteering her time to come do this with us and be with us at the beginning as we make some errors and we learn. We use those cognitive skills and go, oops. So we will be bringing her back. We will be bringing her back for another session, believe me. And I know we're hoping that she'll be at Lacombe doing a session there. So when we get confirmation of that, we certainly will be putting that out. So again, if you like this session, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave us a comment. If you have questions for Jeannie, put them down there and we'll get them to her and get you those answers. So happy crafting and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so nice to meet you, ladies. Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Bye.
Yabby yaks, they weave the sound